Hi fellow planners, my name is Nicole. Thank you for joining me here today on this channel. I'm going to do a quick video on how I do my finance pages in the P2P Hub 02. So I've come here to my January dashboard and you'll see under divider 2 I have finance. Here's my main finance page. Right, so I've just included 3 pages. I keep this really simple. I have the budget plan, the weekly check-in and a transaction log. Now, as you may have heard me say in my hub setup video, I like to keep a track of all my finances and budget on a numbers spreadsheet. So in my planner, I just keep track of my husband's fuel, which I do on this budget plan here, my husband's fuel for work for the month, and I keep a track of the credit card totals at the top here. But where I find most useful is this weekly check-in and the transaction. Now this is for 2 of the credit cards that we use, which I pay off in full monthly. I put all of our expenditure on there that isn't bills, so all of the variable expenses, mainly food and then others is what I've called them. So I've been doing this for years now in the same way. I don't keep track of what we spend on food. But I do have a monthly and then a weekly amount, which is currently £150 per week. So at the end of each week, I write down on my transaction log everything that we've spent in that week and total it, and then I can take that amount off the total of the credit cards, leaving me with what we've spent on leaving me with the total of what we spent on food. I hope that makes sense and you'll see as I go along. So I've already written down the total for the credit card for this week, for the 8th of January. The total is 331, and I've written down on this transaction log everything that we've spent, and that totals £120.61. So I round that up to 120, and I can write in this other section 120. So now if I bring up the calculator, it's really simple to just say the 331 total minus 120 that we've spent on other comes to 211. Okay, so now if I look at last week, I'd spent 61 on food, with it being the first week after Christmas. We didn't need a lot. So I can say, if I say that 211 total for the 2 weeks minus the 61, I spent exactly 150, which is good. And for the other, I allow £100 per week. Our total at the moment is 120. If I minus the 61 from last week, that leaves a total of 59. Again, with it being after Christmas, our expenditure is a little bit lower than normal, which is good. So the total is 331 minus 122 from last week. We've spent a total this week of 209. So if we come across to the remaining, our total for the week is 250 and we've spent 209. So that leaves £41 remaining. But we had a remaining last week of 128. So we still have that. So that's £169 we have left in total. And I'll keep this going for the whole month, and then hopefully, so we had a allowance this week of 500. So for the whole month it's 1,000. Hopefully we'll have some remaining and I'll decide then what I'm going to do with that. So I hope that makes some kind of sense. On this transaction log, I used to colour code the different types of items, and or maybe at one point I was doing who had spent what in the family, but I didn't actually find that very useful. But you can always do that if needed. You could add a key down here at the bottom. But I just need the running total of that. Sometimes I like to put a line underneath, like the first week I'd spent 61, so that would have been this 60 and 91p here. You can put a line between or colour code the different weeks. But again, as I like to see it as a total for the month, I don't really need to know where the different weeks were, apart from when I'm writing down the totals in here. Our month runs from as you can see, the 25th of the 12th to the 24th of the 1st. And then I write down all of the Mondays that are in that month to know whether or not I need a 4-week or a 5-week check-in for that month. And then when I've got my total, I then write it down here at the bottom so that I can take that off each week. I know that last month's bill was 1,624. And then I come across to here and write down the 2 credit cards, the amounts that I've spent that month and what that month's total is. I love having this up here in my hub, which I've pinned, so that when I'm working in my January, it's very easy to bring up the hub at the side and can see what my current totals are. Okay, well, thank you for joining me today. Hope you all have a good week, and I'll speak to you all again soon. Bye-bye.